The Spoonie tag, and I'm going to try and be brief. It's a very long tag. It's like 15 questions, so I am going to try and keep everything pretty brief, but you know me, I go on forever. Hopefully I can actually speak. I have the questions on my computer, which is right here, so if you see me looking over there, that's why. Let's get started. And again, I'm going to try and be brief with most of my answers, but if there is something, a question here that you would like me to expand on and do a full video on, leave it down below in the description and I will try and make an entire video dedicated to that question. So the first question is, what is your diagnosis? I have cerebral palsy, CP, and my specific type is spastic diplegia, and so my legs as well as my right arm is affected. My left arm is affected too, but it's the most normal of all of my limbs. And I have had CP from birth. I also have, what is it called? Hip dysplasia. And that's kind of a result of the CP as well. I also have an undiagnosed seizure disorder. I also deal with some depression at times, which I think most people who have disabilities or chronic illnesses do. So that's all of my diagnoses. Number 3, what have I learned? And I guess what have I learned being a Spoonie, and what I've learned is kind of how to prioritize things and how to deal with my different disabilities and challenges to make like the best life possible for myself. So like I had said, or maybe I didn't say this, I don't know, I've filmed this video a couple times. I have issues with energy, obviously, so I will only do like one thing a day, so for 5 days a week, that's working. That's the one thing I do. And then on the weekend, if it's grocery shopping / errands, I do all of that, and I'm able to kind of just, one thing a day. But in my case, I'm able to sort of figure out if I can do something like right after work. It's almost like I'm running on those same spoons. I have also learned kind of how to mix my passions in with my disabilities so that I can still create things and be very active without being active. Like, I didn't intentionally do this, but when I went to university, I studied communications and I majored in social media. So now when I do a lot of the things that I do, either for work or freelance, I can do them, in my pajamas at home, which I kind of like because I can then make my own schedule, and as long as things are in on time, they really don't care and almost don't even have to know sometimes. What is the hardest part of being a Spoonie? And I think the hardest part of being a Spoonie is just getting people to understand, because if they don't understand and they just sort of see you at work, with the face on and the happy and all of that, and then they text me, say, an hour after work being like, do you want to go out and do something? And I'm like, no, I'm like dying in bed right now. It's just a little bit different because they're like, what? You were like just fine like an hour ago. So it's sort of hard for people to understand, especially if you have to cancel like right kind of an hour before you're supposed to do something, or while the person is driving to your place. It's just a little bit hard for people to understand that. And not necessarily like having the energy to do the things that you want to do. Like when I was younger, I could just do like any other kid or person, and now I kind of have to figure out like what I want to do, how long can I do it for, all those types of things. What are your thoughts on the Spoony community? And my thoughts are that the Spoony community is the most supportive, most diverse community I think I have ever been a part of. And I think it's just because all of our different disabilities and chronic illnesses are varied, but on some level we can all understand what each other is going through. So that's been like a big support to me. What distraction tools do you like to use? So the distraction tools that I like to use, I guess, are social media for one thing, but also I do that for work, so sometimes it reminds me of work. So Netflix, Audible, reading in general, talking on the phone with friends, pretty much anything sedentary. What is your support system like? Half and half. I have a really great support system online. You guys are awesome, always encouraging me to just like keep pushing, which is awesome. And then I have some friends who understand, so that's nice too. My family, they're on the fence. They raised me very able-bodied, so when I use my different mobility aids and stuff, sometimes they question me about it, but I think they're getting there. So yeah, in general, I have a really great support system. 7. What do you miss? I have had my disability since, and pretty much all of my health conditions, besides the hip dysplasia, since, and part of the depression, but I think that was always there, since I really could ever remember. I don't really consider myself missing anything. That said, I miss being able to just go all the time on vacations and stuff. Whereas now, if I'm going on a vacation or somewhere where, you know, there's lots of activity, I kind of have to build in like, all right, if I go to this conference and I go to these panels in the morning, then I'll rest in the afternoon. Or I think I've also become a night owl so that I can sleep till sometimes 1 or 2 and then be up until like 2 a.m. So, I mean, it might not be the healthiest, but it seems to work for me. What stigmas do you wish you could change? There is a stigma, at least in my little Mindy's World bubble, that like, you know, you're lazy and that the things that you're doing could just, or experiencing could be prevented if you did XYZ and, you know, try this and don't do that. And sometimes I just want to say to people like, this is just me, this is how my body works, and I know it works that way because I've lived in it for like 26 years. So just lay off sometimes. Obviously, different types of advice and suggestions are always welcome, but just never try to like force things down people's throats, because you just never know like where they're coming from, especially like today on the internet. Everybody considers themselves a doctor, and like I will say I have done videos on my different diagnoses and how I've dealt with them, but they're always done from the patient perspective. Whether I've stated that or not, I should start doing that, but they're always done from the patient perspective. So I will now be stating that in my videos, if it doesn't already say : my experience. Question 9. What would you like a normal person, in quotes, normal person, to know about chronic illness? I think that I would just like people to know that those of us who live with different chronic illnesses or disabilities, we can still do things. We are not lazy. We may do them in a different way, and we may have challenges doing them. So when we cancel last minute, or say like, I have to take a break so I can take my meds, or say like, I need to find some kind of glass of water because I need to take these now. It's not because, we're wimpy and we can't handle pain, but it's actually because like, it's that bad that I need to find like a glass of water at the mall from, I don't care what, fast food place, but I need to take my Advil or whatever now, or else I'm not going to be any use to you. We're also not like druggies. A lot of us, at least in my experience, try our hardest not to take a bunch of medications, because we try to like keep our bodies as healthy as possible. So the medications that we're taking are meant for us, and we're taking them because there's absolutely no way around it. Name 5 things Spoonie related you couldn't live without. My cats, because they give me support. One is actually lying over there on my wheelchair. I would say the internet, because there's more support there than I could have ever asked for. My overbed hospital table. I'll insert a picture because I can do anything and everything with that. It can be like my TV stand if I'm watching Netflix on my iPad. It can just be a transport device if I can't carry the food from one room to the other. I can just put it on the table and wheel it there. Netflix is probably the 3rd, 4th one. My heat bags, because that's my go-to for everything. And I was actually gonna do a DIY on make your own heat bags and heat bag covers. So if you like that idea, thumbs this video up or comment down below, and I will definitely put that together. And the 5th one, my phone, because I can, call anybody and everybody. I can order food. I can really, do anything with my phone. So those are my 5 things, but tell me your 5 things in the comments. 11. What triggers your flares? Temperature. So extreme heat, extreme cold. If I have overexerted myself, so either too much walking or too much wheeling or too much of a good thing. Sometimes social situations, because I have some social anxiety as well. 12. What is your social life like and how has it changed? I have a pretty active social life, although most of my friends now are persons with disabilities or other chronic illnesses. I think just because we understand each other if we have to cancel or if we need to stop to reorganize our thoughts or are having like a bit of a anxiety attack. Like it's just understood. Although I do have some normal able-bodied friends too who do understand. But for the most part, it's really good. And if I like lump in there the online social life, like I'm good, I'm like liking it. How has being sick changed you? And because of my disability being cerebral palsy, I don't consider that a sickness. So I'm gonna change this to how has my disability changed me. And I think because I don't know what it would be like to not have some kind of illness or disability, because I don't know what it's like to not have an illness or disability, my answer might be a little bit strange, but I think it's made me a more open person to like everybody and everybody. I think that it has shaped my ability to like see things from all angles, and I think it's made me like more creative. Have you made Spoonie friends? Yes, I have. A few. This is the last question. What are the blessings of being a spoon? And I think for me, the blessings really are that you get to know what is most important to you and kind of how to be creative with your life. And I think because, at least in my case, I can only do so much, I like to make the things that I do really count, because I also like to live with no regrets. That's the Spoonie tag, you guys. And I am going to thank Bridget Parker for putting these questions down in her description box, because I actually had a hard time finding them. So I'm going to put them down in the description box for all of you to either do the tag if you want to, or just fill out the questions and share them with your friends, or use it as a way of explaining your disability or chronic illness to people around you. I will see you tomorrow. Like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. I will be in the comments.